All right, welcome back. And if you've just joined us, you're watching our analysis of the 2019 presidential election. That's how we expect that things would go. Of course, we've had the politicians coming to weigh in and give their own projection, and now we have an independent analyst, Libros Oshoma, who is a lawyer and, of course, a political analyst. He doesn't belong to any of the political parties, and he's here to help us to analyze and give us his own independent opinion now on how this election is likely to shape out. Libros, thank you very much for coming on the program. We did this in 2015,
yes,
and we're doing it now again.
Exactly.
So, and we all know that, look, this election would be fought. I'm talking about the presidential election now, would be fought across the 6 geopolitical zones. And there we have the 6 geopolitical zones. Very quickly now, let's start with the first geopolitical zone, which is the northeast of the country. That is where the vice president comes from. This is the outcome, the result we had in 2015. Looking at this, yes.
The PDP presidential
yes, exactly.
Former vice president.
Yes, so this is what the outcome was in 2015. Now, looking at this result, what do you think we're likely to see in 2019? Because, I mean, first of all, the PDP candidate this time is different anyway. He's from that region.
Yes, he's from this region. And then also considering the massive followership that the president, that's the APC candidate, also enjoys across board, you know, in the entire north. So you'll see a slight, you know, change in figures in this, what you have, you know, in 2015 against 2019. Mind you also, the current candidate was also
the current candidate of the PDP.
Of the PDP was also in the APC in
exactly.
2015. And so you could say that the 2 major candidates today are from the north. But unlike the 2015 election, one candidate was from down the south, while, you know, the other candidate, which is the current president,
from the
was
north.
from. And so the candidate of the PDP now also joined forces with the candidate of the APC.
So the complexion of the results would definitely change
a little bit, you know. So you're going to see some few numbers move from here. Considering also that this is a zone, you're going to see a few numbers move from here to this place, but not significant though. If anything we see in the campaign is to...
let's look at Adamawa State, where the PDP candidate comes from. What do you expect? And Taraba as well. Taraba has always been with the PDP. What do you expect to see this time?
For Adamawa State, for example, like I said, you're going to see, you know, a major shift. If the votes are to go the way they went, you know, when I say vote going the way they went, that if the votes are allowed to count, all things being equal, you're going to see a major shift in these numbers. Maybe, you know, in
2015, when the APC won that state, it was a PDP governor that was actually in charge.
Yes, and then because also at that time in 2015, like I said, the candidate of the PDP today was in APC then. Also, you also cannot underrate his influence in the state that time. And then also his influence as regards also the governorship election in the state at that time. And so, mind you also had the what do you call it, the federal might. So to that, you could say, yes, this was a very good one, a very good show for Adamawa at that time. But now, Adamawa and Taraba really are 2 strongholds. You know, they were part of Old Gongola State. Are 2 strongholds that you would expect the candidate of the PDP to make a strong show. But for the APC, the figures, that's why I said what might likely happen would just be a swap of figures. But the APC also, because like I said, because of the presence, you know, the followership of the candidate of the APC, and then coupled with the fact that they had government at the center at this stage. So it might just be a swap. So these numbers coming down this way, why this one moves this way. So
but whatever happens, whoever loses or wins, or whoever loses will definitely get the 25%.
Yes, much more than 25% in this place.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go to the Northwest Zone now. That's where the candidate of the APC comes from. How do you expect things to play out there?
Yeah. If you look at the major difference here between the northwest and the northeast is the fact that the population in the northwest is much more than that of the northeast, especially also the voting population. And if you look at the states, here in Sokoto, for example.
Yes, the APC governor there defected to the PDP.
Yeah, so. In Sokoto State before now, the PDP had no good show because then the current governor was in APC. He left PDP to APC. And then he also had
still there now.
Yeah, still there. No, he had moved back to the PDP.
But yeah, the current governor. I'm talking about the former governor anyway. The former governor left
and then
the PDP and came to
Wamako.
APC.
And so Wamako is back. Is still in the APC. And so Sokoto might also be a battleground for both parties, considering the fact that you have a current sitting governor, and then you have his godfather, who also is in the APC. And then for Katsina is the home state of the president. And so you don't really expect, considering what had happened also in the last by-election that happened in this place, in Katsina and Bauchi State. So you really also would say that the figures would...
What about Kano?
But for Kano, because also at that time, if you remember in 2011 election, the PDP took Kano, because at that time, Kwankwaso also was in PDP. But in 2015, all of them had moved into APC. And then for the fact that the presidential candidate of the APC was from Katsina, and Kano and Katsina were, from almost the same state before. And so now Kano, you have Kwankwaso, who were the Kwankwasia movement, who also installed the current governor, Ganduje. He's back in PDP. And so Ganduje also, you can't, you also cannot underrate his influence.
Movement too, it's a bit split.
Yes, you also can't underrate his influence in Kano. And so to that, if you look at, the numbers in Kano, you won't say that it will be a switch. Definitely Kano, APC might not pull this number and PDP might not pull the same number, but definitely, whatever happens, either party will get more than 25% of the vote.
And the fact that Shekaro is also in the APC, he's gone back to the APC.
Yes. And then the most important thing in
Kaduna.
The Kaduna State before now, and then all of these numbers, why you see these numbers this way, because at that time, mind you, there were large expectations from the people. Disappointment on the part of the PDP. And so up north, it was a no-no for them with the PDP, considering that you have a candidate of the PDP from the south and then a candidate of the APC from the north.
But now both
candidates are from the north. Yeah. And so the election would actually be fought in the north, because down the south, it's almost as if, each zone they've already made up their mind, where they are going to. So for Kaduna, before now also, you find that in 2015, almost all the parties were in the same camp. But the parties in PDP in Kaduna are not too, just like in Lagos, are not as visible as they were also in 2000. Ahmed McAfee, you hardly hear of him now in Kaduna. Sambo also is not too there. The only few people you would hear are those, and even then, they are still supporting the presidential candidate of the APC in Kaduna. So, but that also does not mean, also because the outing, the APC outing in terms of governance also might likely drop their figures in Kaduna.
Let's quickly run through now. Go to North Central. What do you expect? What's your expectation?
Yes, North Central, you would say that PDP might likely make, a few inroads into Niger State because of the crisis in the APC. But APC might still take Niger, but not with this large number. But for Kwara is definitely a battleground. Most especially with the police redeployment, that currently happened. Some people also have of the view that all of these are happening because there's been this pressure to break the Saraki dynasty. And so that's why Kwara will be a very strong battleground. How well the APC will show their presence in Kwara, considering the fact that apart from the fact that you hear them, make so much noise in the media, but whether they have that same strong presence on ground in Kwara is another thing altogether. And then for Kogi State, in 2015, if you remember, all the Dino Melayes and co were all in APC. And as at that time also, remember, the Governor Obaka Audu, with his large followership, was in APC. But Governor Yaya Bello does not have that kind of court followership that Abubakar Audu has at that time. And then the fact that with what had happened with Dino Melaye, the government, had turned that clown into a hero. And that also might drop the numbers of the APC here. Then for Benue, if you remember in 2015, for Benue State, you had Georgia Kume, you had Barnabas Gamade, Autumn, apart from David Mark, who was left in PDP. All of them, Suswan was in PDP, but his relevance at that time also was not, because if you remember, Suswan to a very large extent, benefited from Akume's political largesse.
We never had this headers crisis.
Yes. And so now with the headers crisis in Benue, also the fact that Barnabas Gamade had moved back to the PDP.
No, he's not gone to the PDP. He actually went to another party.
He left the PDP.
And went to, I think, SDP or so, yes.
He went to SDP, but with the farmers' headers crisis in Benue, I definitely, you don't see them, the people also coming out to vote APC the way they did in 2015. Then for Nasarawa State in 2015 was a PDP state, because at that time you had it's a state that was so close to the capital, and then also you had it wasn't a state you could truly call a strong political base of anybody of the APC at that time. Narrowly, the governor even narrowly won his re-election. And so also, but now the governor also has been able to put a strong foothold on this
absolutely
on the ground, and so you might see a little change in Nasarawa State. That is why it's not even too much in the news in terms of campaign. As for Plateau also was a battleground in that election, and it might still be a battleground considering what Plateau had gone through. In the same way Benue had gone through. And then for the FCT being a metropolitan state, sometimes you really can't tell how that will play out.
Be talking about let's look at the Southeast. For me, if you ask me, I would say, well, more like a no-go zone for the APC.
Yes, that's why I told you that the election would likely be fought in the north.
But you would expect that the APC would do better than it did.
The Southeast, if you remember, in 2011, the numbers of the PDP was higher, in the Southeast than what it came to in 2015. And so I see a likelihood of a repeat of those numbers. Also, because a lot of people also did come out to vote in this election. But if you place that against the numbers that came out during the governorship election, you would say, yes, maybe it tallies somehow, though. But for Imo State, I also, because of the crisis of the APC in Imo State, I also don't see the APC making a strong show in, even though Rocha Sokorocha has, been boasting that he was going to give the president, how many thousand votes.
But you look at these other votes, you think the APC will do so badly in Anambra? APC do badly like
Anambra, the APC might not do this badly in Anambra because, one, the governor, if you remember the crisis between the governor and his former godfather, who is from Anambra State, who was the former governor there. And so the governor also might have a few, he's sympathetic to the cause of the president, and so he might have a few people who also will be leaning in favorable of the APC. So their numbers might come up a bit here. But for Enugu being a PDP state, all things being equal, the numbers might not change. But for Ebonyi, Ebonyi State also, it's a state that had, hosted the president twice now. And so you might see the numbers come up a little bit here. But for Abia, you have three strong contenders for the governorship. You have Ucheoga, and then you have the Abga, Gazu, and Alex Oti of the Abga. But for the presidency, it might just be, two horse race. And so I really would not, expect a departure from what had happened here. Against the fact that, most times when you listen to, people from this part of the country, they are not too happy.
Very quickly now, the president, of course, got 25% in Imo State. Do you think there's a chance he might get 25% in
He might likely get 25% in Imo and Ebonyi. This Imo, Anambra, and Ebonyi. But Enugu and Abia, I don't think it will be easy for him to get 25%.
All right. What about the south?
South zone, where you are going in Edo, you know, Edo being the home of the chairman of the APC. And so I know also...
Something I want to ask you about the South zone, because I asked my guest the other time. Do you think, I mean, the current candidate of the PDP campaigned vigorously against Jonathan, you know, when he was running for president? As a matter of fact, some people will say he's partly one of the reasons why Jonathan did not win the election. But now he's running on the platform of the PDP. Do you think some people in the South might decide to take it out on Atiku Abubakar?
No, because if you look at what happened in the South, yes, the candidate of the PDP campaigned vigorously against the former candidate who is from the South. But also, you remember a strong, the Director General of the APC campaign, Presidential Campaign Committee, also is from the South, who also, a lot of them, almost from the same place, Bayelsa and River, also are not too happy. You know, most of the people also are not too happy with him. So it's like between the devil and the deep blue sea. And they also might look at it from the flip side, that if PDP wins, it's almost as if they're back in government. And so whatever misgivings they might have, they might likely want to push it aside and see if they can pull together. But for, like I said, for those, and then, before then, you find out that the numbers from the only places where you have more than 1 million votes was in Delta. And Rivers State. I doubt if the PDP will still be able to pull the same numbers in Rivers State, considering the fact that these two states being major oil producing states, I know that since the inception of this government, the APC government have done everything reasonable to ensure that they are able to make strong inroads.
And you could say the APC has a strong candidate in Delta.
In Delta State now, you see the former governor, the man who was the governor, Dragon was the governor at this time, had defected into the APC. You know, with his followers.
And also,
Ogboru had always been a candidate there. So if Uduaga Pool is able to join forces with Ogboru, so the numbers might also just come.
Yes.
Considering also, like I said, you know, you still have APC as government in the center. And then Edo, remember, PDP had won Edo in 2015. But now you have the national chairman of the APC. Even though the national chairman of the APC at that time was
governor of Edo State at that
was
time.
the former governor of Edo State, Oyegu. But Oyegu's political influence is not as strong as Oshomole's influence. And so now you might see Edo might likely, PAPC might likely, you know, take Edo, the numbers might change here. Then for Delta State, like I said, PDP might likely win Delta, but not with this kind of margin. Then for Bayelsa, even though the numbers are not that much, but they still will not forgive and forget what, you know, the APC candidate did to their son. And so those misgiving, you can say, you know, it's almost certain that Bayelsa is a no-go area for the APC. And then for Rivers, like I said, it's going to be a tough call.
What about Akwa Ibom? Because that's...
Akwa Ibom, it's a tight one, very tight, for the current governor and the PDP also, because if you remember, Akpabio, it's a strong force. Even when he was in PDP, hate him or like him, a lot of people believe that, yes, he did perform in terms of infrastructural development.
Absolutely.
And so now he has moved from the PDP to APC. And so the numbers might likely definitely change here. And so that's why you see, I think that was one of the reasons why the APC had to warn him, in spite of all, you know, the belief that he had done. And then for Cross River, the governor is the man you call a yeoman. And with a few numbers, it might just still remain the same way because of his influence in terms of the state, also wanted to give the impression that he has the state, you know, all covered up. So you might likely, yes, the Southwest is it's what you can say, yes, is done and dusted for the APC because of the strong inroads that the APC leadership in Lagos have been able to make to all the states. Take Lagos, Oyo, Osun, Ondo, and Ekiti. You know, the Osun election and the Ekiti election, it was a tight one, though, for the APC and the PDP, but the APC were able, you know, to have their way and do their thing. And so in Lagos State, because of the strong presence of government at the center in Lagos and the postponement of the election, Lagos being a metropolitan city, PDP was able to put this number that in fact, APC at that time were jittery, you know. But now, you hardly see PDP now in Lagos. It's almost as if they are non-existent. Even when you see them, just few posters, billboard here and there. And so I think they might not be able to make a strong show.
The kind of numbers they made the last time.
In Oyo, as at that time also, even though in Oyo State, the PDP, one other thing that affected the PDP in Oyo State was that the party was in crisis. They were factionalized. You had Alakala in one place, Ladoja in another, and then Teslim Folari in another. And so, but now, all of them, I think about 2 of them have moved into the APC.
Yes.
And so with the current governor in APC, and then, you're also, the people who are endorsing that the PDP candidate in the Southwest, they are Fenifere, really do not have stronghold. So you might also see a repeat of what happened. And then in Ogun, APC, if APC does not watch it in Ogun, then the numbers might drop here, because from their pool, just what happened in Oyo, in PDP in 2015 is happening in Ogun, in the APC in 2000 because of a personal ambition. And so PDP might just be with, even though PDP also have their crisis.
They have their crisis. And but then couldn't you say that the good thing for the president here in Ogun is that even the people who have left the APC, are also campaigning for him at the presidential level?
It's also very easier to say yes. I saw all of them going to visit the president and also pretending to campaign for him. But also, if you look at the mind of the voters, unlike when you look at Lagos, you look at Oyo, you look at Osun, you would say, but here it's also not too certain, most especially when you are dealing with illiterate voters. And so some of these, fringe votes, because they need they need to gather all
they can gather. For the PDP, they have a serious crisis.
Serious crisis here also, the same way APC had serious crisis. And that's why I am saying the numbers might drop.
Do you think a third force might spring up in Ogun?
Yes, it might. If case not
as in another political party.
Yes, it might in Ogun. And that's why I'm saying
to win the presidential election.
No. I mean the governorship. Okay. But why I'm saying the numbers might drop, it's that also might result into voters apathy. And I feel like, well, since this one really doesn't concern us, and so people might just
let's leave those ones now. Let's look at Osun. Let's leave Osun, but let's look at Ekiti. Ekiti, the last time the PDP won it.
Yes, the last time the PDP won the election. And then also, if you look at the PDP currently, the 2 presidential campaign committee, one headed by Senator Olujimi, the other one by Fayose and his people, that also they are also in crisis. And then the current governor, Fayemi, being a former minister, also would have consolidated. Also, a former governor also in the state, just sworn in not too long ago.
So there's a chance the APC might win it.
There's a very strong likelihood that APC might pick this. And then Ondo also. Ondo is a state also, very not too far from Edo. And then the governor, even though he's not too happy with some of the APC leadership in the Southwest, but he's very close also to the president. And so he might just want to also, make a strong show for his party. So you might just see APC picking all of them. All
right, something I just want us to talk about now. This... not this now, how a candidate can imagine the election. And here it says a candidate for a contested election, of course, is to the office of president shall be declared winner if he or she has the highest number of votes cast at the election and not less than 1/4 of votes cast at the election in each of at least 2/3 of all states in the Federation and the FCT. And where 2 or more candidates pool an equal number of votes, being the highest number in an election, the returning officer shall not return any of the candidates, and a fresh election shall be held for the candidates on a date to be appointed by the Commission, as provided in Section 69 of the Electoral Act 2010 as amended. And now where no candidate gets the required spread, the Commission shall within 21 days, it used to be 7 days, but we understand that has been amended to 21 days of the result of the election, arrange for another election between the candidates who scored the highest number of votes at the election and one among the remaining candidates who has a majority of votes in the highest number of states. Now, where there is more than one candidate with a majority of votes in the highest number of states, the candidate with the highest total of votes cast at the election shall be the second candidate for the election, and the candidate shall be deemed to have been duly elected to the office of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria if he has a majority of the votes cast at the election. Section 133.34 of the 1999 Constitution. So, Liberals, that is pretty straightforward.
Yes.
You want to explain it further, just briefly for our audience to understand? Because we have 36 states in the country, so one would be required to win in at least 24 states or so, plus the Federal Capital Territory.
Exactly. That's
and then 25% of the votes, which is very important. Yeah,
25% spread, because you are the president of the entire country, not the president of a section of the country. And so you must have at least, a quarter of 25% of the state. And so what you see the politicians do is why they concentrate.
A quarter of two-thirds.
Yes, a quarter of two-thirds. And so when you see why you see them concentrate in their stronghold, garner as much numbers as they can, but also they target, a quarter of, spread. Once you have that, you have the highest number and then you have a quarter of a spread, then INEC would declare you winner. But in the event that, there is no clear-cut winner, like nobody has been able to, garner that spread, what the law permits is that the candidate, the INEC, should postpone the election set a date within 21 days to conclude the election. And the two candidates with the highest numbers will be the candidates in that election.
Do you see this election going to that extent?
No, not at all.
You think we're going to have an outright winner in the first ballot?
Yes, we're going to have an outright winner in the first ballot. I don't see... our election has not... we have not graduated. It's not sophisticated to that extent where you're going to have a first ballot and a second ballot at the presidential election. Except, there are crises in some areas and maybe votes and not... Election does not take place in those areas, like what you saw happen in Osun State. Election does not take place, and then you have a margin where the number of registered voters in those areas is higher than the margin with which the winner is leading. But otherwise, we are going to have a winner in the first ballot.
All right, Liberal Shoma, thank you very much for coming. Let's just hope the election goes as peaceful as that of 2015.
Exactly.
Thanks for coming on the program.
My pleasure.
Well, that's it on the program, but if you want to watch it again, all you just need to do is go to our website. It's tv360nigeria.com. You'll find this program and lots more there. And, of course, you can just follow the program on our various social media handles. We just pray that this election goes peacefully and that the election is transparent, of course, free and fair. And don't forget, February 16th, it's not just the presidential election. National Assembly elections will be taking place as well. And after that, some weeks later, we would have that for governorship and state houses of assembly elections. So we just hope and pray everything goes peacefully. We encourage you to go out there and vote, and don't engage in any kind of fight at all. Don't engage in any form of violence. Go to the polls, vote peacefully, and if you cannot stay at the polling unit, your polling unit now till the result is announced, then just go home and relax and follow developments on TV. We'll see you again after the elections, and we'll be back. Liberals, I believe we'll be back here to talk about the outcome of the election.
Yes, definitely. To look at the numbers again.
To look at the numbers again. So keep a date with us next time when we meet, and of course that would be after the presidential election. I'm Deji360. We'll see you then.